Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the FCDB Cup 2017 qualifiers. I am Hawker, joined by Sir Danny for the final games of these group stages today. And we're going to kick things off with alternate attacks up against Resistance. And Danny, Resistance have already played a game today, and yet they lost 16-0 against Kingwin. That can't be feeling good heading into this one against aTTaX. That can't be feeling good for them heading into this one against aTTaX, Danny. They lost 16-0 last time they played Resistance. They just played against Kingwin. Can't be feeling good for their chances.
I don't think it's going to be that good here for the Resistance. Especially, you know, I didn't see the game in against King, but I did get to see the scoreline, and honestly, that was quite satisfying from the Resistance squad. And honestly, we haven't really seen them play on a map like Cobblestone. aTTaX, they definitely enjoy their Cobblestone, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. They oftentimes first pick this map when they have the option to, and that's what I was going to point out. I don't really like this veto from Resistance. They've ended up on Cobblestone, which is a map they've lost the last 4 times they played, and they didn't even play against particularly tough opposition in some of those games. They've lost against teams like Game Agents from Hungary, teams like Zero GP. It's not really looking great for their chances. And remember, Resistance need the win here in order to keep themselves in with a chance of making playoffs. So with so much on the line, they're going to have to overcome aTTaX on Cobblestone, who, as you were saying, very much like to play this map. Looks like we will not be getting underway as they tried to call for a pause. And I think we should be getting a restart. But again, alternate attacks starting on the CT side. It's just fairly difficult to see Resistance finding too much, especially after they lost that previous game 16-0. To be fair to them, they took quite a few rounds fairly close against Kingwin. I think they lost 4 1v1s throughout the course of that game. So they were taking rounds close, but it never really felt like they were going to have the skill to close out those clutches. And so that seemed to be the issue for them.
And on a map like Cobblestone here, and by the looks of it, they're going to be starting on that terrorist side. And on the terrorist side, honestly, the T's are going to have to get some crazy shots, I'd say. They're going to have to step up individual prowess sort of style. But at the same time, aTTaX, they're really not known for their good sort of CT setups. They're quite the stronger side on the CT, though. They have decided to start here, and look at the go here. Seriously, and ESFN both picking up kills here, but already Resistance making their way onto the site.
Yeah, Stefan gets another kill. Impulse finds one while he was running, but Decky, the last man left, gets taken out. Searson on just 1 HP finds that final headshot. So the pistol round goes in favour of alternate attacks there. Despite Resistance getting some entry kills, again, alternate attacks were very, very quick on the rotate, and the fast play does not work out for Resistance in the first round, although considering aTTaX have gone for full SMGs here, they could still very much be competitive in this round as they brought out the pistols.
Yeah, truly, the pistols. In a round like this, if they're able to get those close quarter engagements, they could really do some damage here on the alternate attack side, as the CT side team is still pretty much setting up here towards what seems to be having more focus towards the B part of the map. This is at least the majority of the players are at, 4 of them to be exact. Impulse, though, right before the Molotov is extinguished, Stefan is going to be dropping, so I guess this is at least something going in favor of Resistance.
Yeah, nice opening pick for Impulse. And again, remember, the rest of alternate attacks are all on SMGs, so this is why I would have liked to see them go for 1 rifle, because now they lose the first pick. It does become a little scary for them, especially as Kingol gets himself a kill. The CZs working their magic in towards drop, finding those close range fights, and here comes Impulse trying to catch Hunden out in the open. Hunden survives on just 1 HP to find that frag, and here comes the push. They're going to try and overwhelm Hunden, but here comes ECFN to shut them down. And so Decky, the last man left, in all kinds of trouble on just 30 HP, should get overwhelmed. Hunden nearly finds the kill, but it's instead ECFN to clean things up for aTTaX.
It looked scary there for aTTaX, you gotta admit, even though they had the majority of their players towards the B part of the map. They had 4 to be exact, and only 1 lonesome defender on that. It still looked relatively close there. I guess you could say you know, there were some times where aTTaX kind of gave away some peaks there. We saw a double peak there towards Belong, and yet Impulse is able to rip off the head of one of those players. And again, we're seeing him on the Deagle. He could, and well, not now. He won't be spotting out ESFN, but look at Searson though. He knows that the players are on an eco, but this is aggressive, you could say, and the pistol, in fact, will be finishing off Searson. But hey, he already made, I'd say, a bang for his buck. You know, he pretty much made up of the purchase of the MP9, but still, alternate attacks, they should be taking this one. After all, they saw where the bomb was at. Tizian spawning out a couple of those players, and looks like the T's are still gonna take their sweet time.
Look at ECFN though, he's coming through for the flank. I don't think they know he's here. This is gonna be a free kill. He hears the steps, Impulse coming out into the open, and there is the first frag. Looking for the second, but in comes the trade. And surprisingly enough, the rifle is lost there, so Holmes will get that into his hands. Here comes Kingor as well, spotting out the aggression from the CT side. ECFN a little bit away from the rest of his team. Sorry, that's Stefan who's pushed his way forwards, and they're going to try and overwhelm him on this position, but there goes the first man dropping down, and Holmes, without the Kevlar, without the ammo, should eventually go down, and the USP does find a running shot to close out the round. So alternate attacks, they take the 3-0 lead despite a couple of somewhat close rounds. And so Resistance, I think they might use that as sort of a positive to tell themselves they can very much compete now that they've got the AKs for themselves.
Especially, as you've just mentioned, having those AK-47s, now they should be focusing on a round like this. Yes, they end up losing the force buy, they end up losing the pistol round as well, but now they have an opportunity here with the gun round that they have. And it looks like it's going to be a fast one, but already ESFN has a nice angle there towards Danger. He is alone towards the A bomb, so this could have gone, relatively wrong, just like that smoke from Impulse, as the terrorist side could have, if they'd gone very quickly on the A bomb site, could have overwhelmed the defense, because it meant there was only one player there. There was only one guy. If he drops, the A side is open and ready for Resistance though. They do end up losing one of their players. No refrag will be coming in. And for the time being, though, they are positioning towards long here. Belong and Searson towards Belong will be picking up one and kind of misses the shot there on the second player. And now Resistance, they have a decision to make here. Where on earth are they gonna go with Kinger getting that kill? I presume it could be the B bomb site.
ECFN here could be in danger. Dimka is spotted though. Very quick reactions there from ECFN. He was watching towards the left side of his screen, and he won't get caught off guard by the player pushing A long. And that kill, I think, really gives aTTaX a strong foothold in this round. With Kingor and Holmes the only two players left, they're going to hope that they can find a quick headshot. But just look at the information for aTTaX. They pushed all the way through B. And so ECFN should watch the cross towards the site. Holmes trying to make his way forwards, but in comes the backstab. And they line up for ECFN to spray them both down. In fact, it was a 4K in the round for ECFN. A very good production from him early on. And he I think, is sort of the one player that has been fairly standout, maybe alongside Stefan. I think those have been the two standout players for the most part in these group stages for alternate attacks. And that seems to be continuing here on Cobblestone.
Really, all of these players have had their moments here on the aTTaX side. Hunden as well, having a relatively great performance on his matchup on Train yesterday, but really, pretty much the aTTaX players, they have, I'd say, more experience than what Resistance here has got to offer. I do believe Resistance is playing within their sort of competition, within the Adria League, I think that's what it's called. And Resistance, I mean, they just don't really have the sort of experience that I'd say prowess in facing these better teams. And their map pool as well, it's looking relatively shallow. To see them play Cobblestone, it's unorthodox to say the least. Them getting beaten 4 times in a row in Cobblestone is definitely not a good scoreline here, but they might try to change things up here. They might try to break the streak, especially as Kinger does pick up Tizian, but the Flames do burn him in the end.
1-for-1 trade, but Stefan won't happen for long. He gets himself a kill to give aTTaX the lead, and the spray down looks great. Dimka, the one man left, out in the open, and so Hunden will get himself a quick double And that will put Resistance in trouble. They're already down 5-0. They will, however, decide to switch things up. This is something we see very often from Resistance. They are more than happy to go for double AWPs on their T side, and you don't really see it from too many other teams. And to be honest, I think you can kind of understand why, because even when Resistance managed to get the round wins with these double AWPs, a lot of the times in the past they have been very close rounds, and then their economy has been in a fair amount of trouble. So unless the AWPs can really make a huge difference on the T side, I don't think it's really worthwhile, and I don't think we've seen Resistance have enough success with those AWPs, but just as I say that, Impulse tries to prove me wrong by finding that opening pick.
And that was truly a very good opening pick, spotting out the player there through the flames, Searson dropping. And I guess the good thing is though that ESFN has actually recovered the op, and not only has he recovered the op, but he also recovers his own rifle. As you might see, he's dropping that rifle, that op constantly, and now he's got an op and a rifle close by him. But look at this though, Hunden very close towards the smokies. He's gonna go for it. Hunden will be pushing aggressively, good for the one frag. I'm not quite sure if he spotted out the bomb though, but still, if aTTaX would have gotten a second kill there, the spray transfer looked quite crisp there from Hunden, but simply wasn't good enough, and it's still a 4 versus 3.
Yeah, and here comes the push. ECFN loses that all-important fight. That's going to force Tizian to try and make his way back towards the site to try and hold this down. How does Decky whiff that kill? He had the perfect flank for himself there, and yet Tizian survives on 3 HP. Still not expecting aTTaX to have too much of a shot at winning the round, but Tizian has certainly given them an outside chance here as they have to retake the B site 2 versus 3. Sorry, the A site 2 versus 3, and it's not going to happen, although maybe it will. Stefan actually wins that fight there to bring us back to a 1v1. He is, however, very low on health, and Holmes still in such a good position. He can just play things safe. He can watch the cross towards the site. You can see Stefan's trying to make his way forwards. Holmes does whiff the shot. That's going to force him to play for the bomb, but he's still in a great position to deny this defuse. Should line up the wallbang. Oh no, he needs to swing out. Just about gets the kill in time. Fairly close on the defuse, but Holmes still had it covered. And so Resistance won't be taking a second 16-0 loss in the same day. They get themselves their first round.
I think it's good to hear for the Resistance boys, especially after having that very shaky matchup there against Kingwin. And now, I mean, aTTaX, I guess the good thing for the German side is that they still have, you know, accumulated a decent amount of money, especially after winning 5 rounds in a row. But we have to admit, both these teams aren't doing so hot in the economy game. I mean, if it's going to be aTTaX or even Resistance and them ending up losing this round, they might just have to eco here. On the other hand, it's still, you know, these rather early stages here on the first half, so it isn't that bad. But at the same time, Resistance, they had some relatively good success the round prior, especially they were able to get that initial frag. They could do so here towards B plat, but now Stefan, he notices that, hey, I'm losing damage here. I probably should back away, and back away he has. aTTaX, they're going to be giving away B plat, but at the same time, they had it for the past 30 or 40 seconds, but Stefan still in contention will be getting the frag into Holmes. And even though I thought it was given up, apparently I was wrong.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Stefan go there as well, and here comes the hold towards drop. 2 players there. Hunden does go down, and Tizian now is the last man left. Decky, in the meantime, tries to push through towards mid, but aTTaX are just one by one dismantling the push. And ECFN really looking on point to start off this game. Finds another headshot. He's already up to 10 kills. aTTaX are already up to 6 rounds. But more importantly, as you were saying earlier, the Resistance money is nowhere to be seen. And in this sort of a round, their money is so bad that even with an eco here, if they wanted to go for a buy into the next round, it really wouldn't be great. This is just such a tough spot for Resistance to be in.
It'd have to be a good old-fashioned double eco, but Searson, as he peeks through the flash, will be taking down Dimka, but now it's the opportune time to simply back away. He should be expecting a weaker buy. Now he has to back away at this point. He's got the backup of ESFN, but he really doesn't have to push like that. Now he just giving away for a frag for free there. They should have allowed Resistance to make more progress on the A side itself. That is where the defenders are at, 4 of them to be exact. And aTTaX, they are still, I'd say, the team that should be coming out on top, but they want to minimize the casualties for as long as possible.
So Searson does get away, but as you said, ECFN did give up his life to make sure his teammate was safe, even if it wasn't necessarily required of him. Kingor will recover that rifle, but still without the Kevlar, going to be difficult, especially as the kills come in. One for each of the aTTaX players who rotated over. So they will take the 7-1 lead. And Resistance, they have decided here they are going to risk the force buy. It's not going to be great from their perspective. They're only going to get a couple of AKs. But considering they're 7-1 down, I can certainly understand their thought process here. Just being so far behind, wanting to get that round win. And also the fact that, remember, as we were saying earlier, aTTaX haven't really built up that much money either. So if they could win a round like this, then they would be right back in with a chance here. And with the smokes going out towards B, we might see a quick push towards this B bomb site.
The push is very fast indeed, as Stefan will be acquiring one frag, but there's Dimka just jumping down already on the side itself. But you have to admit, though, it's not other than Hunden in a very good position, though I don't think he knows. He knows that the players are so close by him, but yet the bomb has been planted. And this should be now relatively good here for Resistance, but as they say so, they're dropping dead here. Impulse now, the last terrorist standing here, he's up against 2 now. He does pick up one more frag, that'd be Hunden down. But you still have Searson and ESFN on the CT side. The T player Impulse in a pretty awkward spot at this point. Impulse is gonna try to clutch it, but it's gonna be too difficult. I presume Searson with the P250 will be finishing things off here. And the terrorist side, it looked kind of good for them. You know, they get the bomb down. It's a 4 versus 4. It's possible for them to have a successful time here, but you have to admit, I do believe those were 4 players on the site itself, 4 terrorist side players on the B side. Those were not some of the best positions they could have had.
Yeah, exactly. Initially, it was looking good for Resistance. As you said, it was good. It was really nice to see them actually line up and execute over the top. The smokes were well placed in order to cut off the site. But then Resistance, they committed so heavily to making sure the bomb could go down. They didn't think about if they were going to be in good positions after the fact. And so that means they can't defend the bomb itself. And here comes Tizian spraying away. 3 kills for him against the pistols. Even the USP comes out for the 4th. And so Impulse will try and make sure Tizian can't get the ace, because he instead is out towards B plat. And with the Desert Eagle, not too much to be done here. Stefan will steal away the ace, but he will happily take the kill. And I'm sure aTTaX will be fine with that one, not losing a single gun.
And how couldn't you in a round like that? Did a pretty good job there. It looked kind of scary there. I mean, you had 2 defenders towards drop, but you had 4 terrorist side players jumping down, and you were probably thinking, okay, they should be getting at least 1 frag there. But at the same time, Tizian, it does such a great job, especially deploying smoke. The terrorists who are jumping down, they don't really have the most amount of time to actually see the CTs who are defending. So that was a very nicely prompted smoke from the CT side. And in the end, they end up winning the round without losing a single player, though. Impulse looks like he's going to be starting off things here very fast for the terrorist side team, as he's going to go for more, and he does get a quick no-scope there. Well, I do believe it was a quick scope to be exact, but it is still quick frags nonetheless.
Yeah, that's something we haven't really seen enough from Resistance. Someone trying to make a play, someone willing to go aggressive and make the difference for their team and get themselves the entries. And Impulse just shows a lot of confidence there, which is really nice to see with that orb. Here comes ECFN, he spots out the feet. But it turns out shooting feet doesn't do too much damage. In the meantime, Resistance find another frag over towards the B site. And after aTTaX looked fairly good holding the B site previously when the execute came through, this time it all goes horribly wrong for them. The Searson is the only player left with the AWP. And Resistance almost certainly going to be taking this round. We'll get to see if Searson can maybe land a shot or 2. He does nail that first one. And that was the bomb drop down, but he can't really do too much more. There is Kingor to come through to make sure Resistance take the round win. And yeah, really quick kills coming in from Impulse. And from that point on, it always felt like Resistance were going to really be in control of that round.
Because beforehand, I think we've seen Impulse on the AWP, but he... the round that Resistance did win was kind of on the back of Impulse taking down the player Searson towards A plat. So, I mean, he has been relatively good when it comes down to getting the entry frags here, Impulse, with the AWP nonetheless, and he's gonna try to go for some more here. The thing is, though, already the CT side, I think, have naded him, but now he is still holding B plat. Frash coming through, Molotov as well. Stefan, he doesn't necessarily have to go for the peak, but he will, and Impulse will be taking down Hunden. And even though Impulse is low on HP, him having the AWP, I don't think that's going to affect much. Kinger, though, already towards drop. Looks like the defense is crumbling here.
Yeah, Citizen gets one kill back, but that was on the other side of the map, and so Stefan with the AWP is going to have to solo hold B for the time being. Does nail that first headshot on towards Holmes. And now you can see the second player having second thoughts about the push through. In the meantime, Kingol's going to open up the A side of things, and so now ECFN is the only player anywhere near this site. The two CTs playing so far away from each other, the ECFN has a lot to do if he wants to hold this off. And as Deki takes him down with that second AWP, Stefan himself in a 1-on-3 probably can't really risk going for this one with the AWP himself, because remember, aTTaX don't really have the best of money. Saving the AWP here, even then, I'm not sure if they'll be able to get the buy into the coming round.
That is true. aTTaX, they don't really have a lot of money. If you take a look at the scoreboard, it's not doing so hot. I mean, Stefan, he should be in a position, and I presume he will in fact save the AWP here. And if you take a look at the money of the rest of the squad, well, Searson has got a decent amount of bang in his pockets, but really, Hunden, Tizian, and even Stefan himself, they're not doing so good in the money department. So I presume if Stefan, and by the looks of it, he will be able to save the AWP, I think they're going to be having only this lonesome AWP into the round. They could maybe afford some of those better pistols, but really, I think if you hire Searson, he's probably going to be dropping some of those pistols off, and aTTaX, really all they need is one good eco here, and a tactical pause being called out. Wow, that is quite unexpected. You could say for most teams, they should already have some sort of game plan here, but aTTaX, they take it slow, they think things through, and that is very nice to see.
Yeah, Stefan was saving the AWP for a long time there, so I kind of assumed they would have been discussing that over while he was trying to save. But yeah, I assume with the money they actually have now, the force buy is going to be a little bit better than I initially expected. You can see they are going to get a couple of rifles. In fact, a fair few rifles on their side of things. This isn't as bad of a buy as I expected whatsoever. It's actually fairly good. It's only really ECFN down to the Mag 7. And even then, there are plenty of positions on Cobblestone where I've seen this Mag 7 have huge impact in the past. You can play towards A long, you can play in towards drop. Plenty of possibilities with the shotgun. So let's see if those possibilities come into reality here, because alternate attacks will be, as we said just then, going for the force into this round. And ECFN will indeed be playing closer to A along with this Mag 7. This could be big if he peeks out at the right time. There's a man with the AWP round the corner. Impulse is going to have to react so quickly, and already the tag comes in, but the no-scope is going to shut down the Mag 7 at the start of the round.
I'd say that's quite unpleasant for Stefan. Really, if he lands just one shot the Mag 7, that should be enough, but somehow he lands the shot, but it only does about 60 points of damage, so of course, Impulse will be able to live as he also gets that sick no-scope on the player. But right now, I mean, aTTaX, they've lost one of their individuals, but not only that, they also lost quite a decent amount of map control towards the A bomb, so that's why we're already seeing a rotation here from Tizian. He is close by to help out his teammate, as really aTTaX, they have no idea where the push might come for. It could go towards this A bombs, it could go towards B. And because of this lack of information, we're now going to be seeing, I presume, towards B plat. They're going to try to do something, and this is very nice. Stefan and Hunden will be getting the kill there onto Holmes, as really aTTaX in that sort of position. They need to try and do something, try to get some kills, maybe an early engagement here. Hunden though peeks through with the FAMAX, picking up two, not the third one though, but already damage dealt, and Dimka is gonna have it difficult.
Yeah, there is a man towards A long, so he could take some one-on-one fights here. Attacks are split up. You can see Tizian doing a really good job at just staying safe, although the double nade's going to go in, and Tizian does take a fair amount of damage. That was very nicely done from Dimka there, but now the players are pushing towards him. Can he find these kills? First headshot comes out, but Stefan is just too quick to find the trade kill. That was, to be fair to Dimka, a really good effort in the 1-on-2 there. The nades did a lot of damage. He found that quick headshots, and he never really had the chance to find the second kill. Stefan was just so quick on the trade that certainly can't blame Dimka for that round. It was really, I think, Hunden in towards Connector that actually made a big difference in that round. Those two kills really slowed down the resistance push and really kind of stopped the T side in their tracks. And so now we will get to see another full buy for both teams, and we're already heading into the late stages of this first half. And look at Tizian, the auto shotgun's going to be coming out. Let's see where that's going to be playing.
Doom drop, it's probably the best choice to go with that sort of weapon, and we're already seeing Tizian towards drop with the shotty. And I mean, we have seen previously here he got the M4, but now having that shotgun, I guess it makes sense here. Especially, it's quite the bang for your buck. But really, money doesn't really matter that much here for the tax side. It's just that Tizian, it didn't really have the most amount of money, so the shotgun is a purchase that does make sense. But Kinger, he just walks out dry, maybe too dry. Tizian picking up both of those kills, and the terror side team are having it difficult yet again. They have been having these sort of issues when it comes down to taking drop control. Pretty much barely any sort of utility usage. We did get to see that one round where Deki was able to get the quick scope there onto drop, but other than that, I mean, Resistance, they have the best bet to take drop when there's nobody there, but problem is Tizian, auto shotty, and that's quite the devastating combo towards drop.
Yeah, the only issue of that shotgun could have been if he was forced to rotate off and try and retake, but that was not an issue. He just holds down that position to find those first 2 frags. And this is a position also, you see shotguns can be used sometimes in certain spots on maps and be very, very powerful. Here goes the push though, and Tizian will be forced back by the flash and eventually traded on. With 30 seconds left here, Resistance have to go quickly, and it's just not happening for them. Holmes does get the second headshot, but still just one too many players for him to deal with. Stefan finds the eventual frag. And so Resistance heading into the last round of the half, they're not going to have the best of buys. To be fair to Resistance, this game has felt a lot more competitive than the scoreline shows. Again, it really feels like if Resistance won one round here, one round there, managed to break the aTTaX economy, this could be a very tight game, but instead they haven't won those critical rounds, and so now you can see what that means for the scoreline, down 11-3.
That is true, and pretty much throughout the entirety of this game, aTTaX really just had to save only once. And already things are not looking so good here for the Resistance team as they drop Deki. I'm quite surprised that, you know, seriously, he peeks out, he sees at least 3 players at the very minimum, and he decides, oh, I'm gonna kill Deki. I can see his head there, he's popping out there right behind the rock. I'm gonna pick up that frag, and by getting the frag, it makes it a 4 versus 5, and as Resistance is still slowly but surely moving towards the A bomb site, the problem is though, they are in fact 3 defenders here.
2 players playing up close in towards mid. I don't think there's any way Resistance would expect that if they were to push forwards. But it seems like they are now in the nick of time having second thoughts, because if they did push through, as you were saying, it would have been very difficult to make their way in. 49 seconds left though, and Holmes is sticking around towards the A bomb site. The rest of his team going in towards drop, so they could still try and split A through connector here. And if that were to be the case, that could be fairly difficult for the T side. The Serbians still yet to make a move. They're going to drop down, and Hunden certainly heard that. That's a lot of information. He heard 2 players dropping down. And so alternate attacks now. They're not rotating just yet, but you can already see Stefan watching towards drop, trying to find the kill, and he does get that first frag. The bomb is dropped down, and with 20 seconds left, Resistance have a lot of work to do.
So much work, because there's also the player onto plat. That be Stefan. You gotta kill him as quickly as possible, as they're simply not gonna have enough time to plant the bomb. Now Impulse has got the bomb on his shoulders, but he just wasted too much of his time. And now Holmes, he's got barely anything to work with here, and he's gonna die. I mean, he was in a position where he was ready to flank, but the problem is though, as the bomb wasn't planted, there's really no point in flanking. 10 seconds on the clock, the bomb not being planted, it's just a horrible position for Holmes to be in. And it could have worked out if the bomb would have gone down. Then I think his flank could have been powerful. He could have gone right behind those players towards B from A side. Very powerful position, but not in a round like this. 12-3 is the scoreline. Not looking so good here for Resistance, and aTTaX, they're going to be purchasing quite a decent amount of utility in a round like this.
Yeah, even when aTTaX are 12-3 up, it's really nice to see them always be disciplined and always go for those nades and always go for their strats. And we're going to see a couple of players lean towards A long. Impulse is here, and he has had some plays so far that have made a difference for Resistance, but in this round, he's just going to play things safe. That has allowed him to call for the rotate though, so with a couple of players being around this A bomb site, aTTaX themselves will still line up the push. So let's see if the Serbians can find the kills between them as attacks make their way forwards. The clock's up close. Decky does get the one kill. And Searson looking to find another one. Does get that second frag. Finally, though, Holmes pushes through for the trade. Stefan and Hunden, though, they're finding the frags back. Here comes Dimka. Such a back and forth round, but Dimka finds the 1-on-2. That was his last bullet, I think, there that he found on towards Hunden. And Resistance just about managed to scrape the pistol round into their favour.
That was, I'd say, quite unlucky for aTTaX. They pretty much had everything going for them. They smoked out some of the positions that the CTs were in, but I don't think even the German side expected that the players will in fact push for those smokes, and they were caught off guard relatively quickly. In the end, I mean, it was traded out relatively good by aTTaX. It did came down to a 2 versus 2, but in the end, Resistance do end up picking that round, really thanks to the player Dimke. And now the Resistance side is looking not that bad. You know, they pick up the first pistol round. That was goal number 1, I'd say, on the second half. Pick up the pistol round and then try to acquire rounds, as many rounds as possible in a situation like this. Impulse, though. I'm quite surprised that the second bullet even landed on anyone, landing straight onto Hunden's head. But really, aTTaX, they have quite a bit of investment here, and they're barely getting anything done already, but the majority of the players have died here towards A, and that's gonna be the round. I'd say that was quite sloppy from aTTaX.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, especially again, we see Resistance go themselves for the full SMG buy. I'm not a massive fan of it, but you saw there the UMP making it work towards A long. Could have probably got the third kill, but struggled a little bit. And as you were saying, aTTaX, they didn't look too prepped for the push there, unfortunately for them. Of course, they won't be too disappointed as they are still 12-5 up. They will be a little bit disappointed with the buy they have in this round. They only have the one flashbang alongside the CZ to make this round work. Or at least make this round work in terms of trying to find a kill or two. Here comes the flash over the top. Stefan will come down in towards drop, and you can see Holmes is holding aggressively. He does go down, but Dimka is here to help him out to make sure the M4 is safe. But it won't be safe for too much longer because Stefan does find himself the second frag. Oh, he just about recovers the M4. But Impulse is around the corner, waiting patiently to spot the opponent out. And so only 2 kills on the round for alternate attacks, but more importantly, the buy goes straight up. Searson even going to get the AWP.
And that is always good to see, Searson at the AWP. But I'd say he's still one of those operators that are a bit better on the CT side. On the T side, we've seen him play, but really hasn't been, I'd say, such a great addition for the terror side team. On the terror side, really. On train, we've seen him play, but he hasn't been so good on the terror side, I'd say. And now on the terror side of Cobblestone, I'd say on the terror side of Cobblestone, the Ops do have a bit more rain. They have quite a lot of opportunities, get the frags there with the Ops. But the thing though, Searson, he's towards what seems to be the A part of the map, and no one is peeking him as of yet. Even though Impulse and even Decky has got the Op, Impulse is towards Matrix, though Searson, in fact, does look at the most opportune time, and now Resistance, they go for these sort of peaks here, Impulse and Kinger, but now it means that the A bomb site is open and ready for business. But I have to admit, the rotation is swift, and we do get to see Holmes on the side itself, and Decky is towards, balcony, but no more Holmes. I think they know where Holmes is at, towards cannons. He is dead, in fact. And Dimke, I mean, he could and probably will try to go for this one, except that Searson has got his number, 13-6. Quite surprised on how that round went on.
Yeah, it was a little bit strange from Resistance. I think that Impulse's play is absolutely fine. Going for that pick with the AWP, he lands the shot, he gets traded on. The weird thing was then Kingor, after being the only player on the A site, decides to push out through A long. It seemed like he thought he had to make a play to help his teammates, but his teammate was already dead, and then he just pushes out and gives away his life for nothing. And so from that point onwards, alternate attacks were always going to be in a great position to close out the rounds. And of course, Resistance, now off the back of losing that round, might go crashing out of Cobblestone and crashing out of their chances in this qualifier. Decky does get that first kill, so this one isn't over just yet. Tizian goes down first. I believe that should be a rifle they can pick up. In the meantime, though, the rest of attacks are towards A. However, Resistance, after going aggressive towards B plats, they are more than ready for this push with 3 players. So this is going to be interesting for attacks here. Let's see if they use the utility on the push towards the site.
A team like aTTaX will definitely be using that utility. They may not use it just yet, but if they're going to be finding a frag here relatively quickly, then of course they're going to have to smoke off some of the more important positions, like they're towards the double doors right there. Deki will be throwing a nade, but it's not going to be doing much. Hunden, oh, in fact, Hunden will be dropping dead to that nade of all things. Dimka is still alive here and kicking towards balcony, picking up 2 massive frags now. He's up against ESFN and spots out the headshot, and Dimka, what a play from him, picking up all those free frags. If there was a man that needed to step up, it would probably be Dimka. In a 1 versus 3, that was such a crucial round to win.
Yeah, it's actually such a huge round from Dimka. Not only does he win the round, but of course aTTaX are back down to a weak buy. It's Resistance themselves who can start to gain a lead in terms of money. And this all of a sudden could become a little bit more of a competitive map than aTTaX were initially expecting after their first half went so well for them. They have, however, gone for the force buy here. So Resistance will still very much have to not underestimate the aTTaX side in this round. Even though they only have the 1 rifle, the 1 Galil, I could absolutely see aTTaX just kind of overwhelming the push. But Dimka, again on the hold, finds 2 kills. This A-site hold has looked good for Dimka so far, and he gets Holmes to help him out. The push through the smoke to make sure his teammate survives. And Tizian is the only man left. Nice team play as well, coming out there from Resistance on the A-hold, on the rotates over.
Yeah, some very nice stuff here from the Serbian team. Something really didn't get there on the side, and I'd say aTTaX have kind of failed here on the push on this bomb side. Resistance doing such a great job against this investment from the aTTaX side, picking up all frags, not losing a single player, and heck, all Resistance had was those pretty much SMGs and M4 towards the A bomb side. Impulse didn't have much to do there towards that B plat. And now aTTaX. A full eco must be called from the terrorist side team, as they barely have any money left in their pockets. So an eco here means that Resistance can acquire their 9th, and honestly, that's only going to be a 4-round difference between the 2 teams.
And they're going to push mid, but again, the Glock's not really going to get too much done. If they could even find a kill here, I would be somewhat surprised. They are going to push towards plat, where Impulse is holding with the AWP. He needs to be careful. He does go down. And that is an AWP dropped out in the open. But Resistance are going to make sure there is no chance that aTTaX can get anywhere near it. There's just so much fire for aTTaX to try and make their way through. And Resistance now are going to focus towards plat. It's Dimka here. Oh, 2 insanely quick headshots come out from Dimka. Finally, the bomb will be recovered, and Searson does get the kill back. But to no avail. He eventually goes down at the hands of Holmes. And let's see if the guns are saved. They save the AWP, but they do lose one of the rifles. Shouldn't be too relevant, though, because Resistance can certainly still buy here.
They will certainly buy here, as, I mean, they're the team that's winning. They can keep up this win streak if they end up, well, simply put at it, winning these rounds. And certainly that is something Resistance will try to do. So they seem to be having, maybe you could say, a bit more confidence here on the CT side. On the T side, they seem to be kind of lost, all things considering. You did get to see one of the operas like Impulse trying to go for those entry frags, trying to put his team in a good position to win, and now we're seeing these sort of individual picks now from the CT side, and heck, on the CT side, they seem to be working out even better than on the T side. But as I say so, Searson in a position where he probably will be spotting out someone. The Molotov has been dropped, but Searson is still surviving with 87 points of health.
Yeah, Impulse holding off towards mid again. He might just get the chance to find a frag. He's been really good at finding those entries towards mid so far. Even when he lets them push in, he gets a frag for himself as Hinden goes down first. And now alternate attacks. You can see they're not really grouped up. They're not really sure where they want to push just yet. And if they go for these individual peaks, the AWPs could go well for the Resistance side. But just as I say that, Searson wins that fight against Deki, so one of those AWPs is already gone. We're back to a 4-on-4, 40 seconds left, and the bomb will be recovered. But still, aTTaX not really deciding where they want to hit just yet.
But now they probably will. I mean, they get a kill there towards the A bombs. It's pretty much obvious. We do get those kills towards that A part of the map, so allowing us simply go towards A. We still have some utility here that will be deployed. Don't matter about it for Kinger, as really they haven't Molotov him out. He's still in a good position to do some damage, and damage he will do, dropping the bomb carrier, and now full rotation has to come through. 10 seconds, the bomb has to be planted. Now make that 7. TSM with the frag, but now they have got barely any time here. He will just about get it here, Tizian, but now he's up against Holmes, and this is a clutch of great importance for both of these players. Either Searson puts his team in still a very winnable position, or Resistance, they might officially start off the comeback here. Searson hiding behind, I think he heard the jump there. Still, Holmes, he should be in a position to take this one if the timing is right, but yet he has no idea where the player might be at, and as he does stick to the defuse, Searson is gonna peek, and that's an easy frag for Searson in the end. It was quite of an interesting position there behind APC, but the timings do work out for the terrorist side player.
Yeah, really well played by Searson there. I think he heard the man drop down from heaven, and then he just walks around the truck, makes sure Dimka doesn't get any sight of him. And then, of course, Dimka can't really expect Searson to be so close pushed up behind the truck there, so he goes down after trying to get the defuse. And so now Resistance might be in trouble. They have gone for the buy. 14-9 down. They haven't quite got all the rifles they may have wanted, but they're just going to have to live with the 3 guns on their side, including an AWP for Impulse, who has made a couple of plays with that AWP so far. So certainly don't count Resistance out of this round, especially considering aTTaX themselves have, what, 2 Galils, 2 UMPs? This could actually be a very interesting round to see how that works out for aTTaX. But for the time being, we're just going to see them spread out. Dimka is also pushed up towards Platt, so that's something to watch out for here. If he gets Molotoved out, it's unlikely he'll be able to find a frag, but aTTaX still, just as we were saying, playing patiently to start the round.
And this setup, in fact, is going to be favoring aTTaX more than anything. Resistance, I presume, because aTTaX have been hitting this A bomb site for the majority of the rounds on the terrorist side. Now they, in fact, put 3 players there, but they are quick on the rotate, though, when the players has backed away. But ASFN, if there was a crucial frag for him to get, it'd be that one. And now as the players are pushing towards B, Resistance has got to be feeling relatively confused now. How on earth is this working out here for the Germans? Impulse, though, and Holmes will try to clutch here, but Holmes will be dropping to the running and gunning Hunden, though, an Impulse missing the no-scope. He doesn't have to peek that Tizian. I have no idea why on earth the Tizian thought that was a good idea, but really, he could have just planted the bomb, and that was just, I'd say, milliseconds. And if the op hits the shot, Tizian could have died there.
So close again for Resistance. That shot could have landed, but I think he was still running, and so Impulse doesn't get the kill. Again, Resistance, they've taken so many of these rounds incredibly close, but just not really been able to close enough of them out, and that's why they are down 15-9, and that's why they are down to the weak buy here. 4 CZs alongside a UMP to keep themselves in with a chance. And remember, Resistance, they're already 0 for 4 in their group. If they lose this game, they are out of the qualifier. They will not be making the playoffs. And it looks likely that they will be losing this game, as Searson already finds that opening kill. 4 versus 5 now for Resistance. aTTaX still just spreading out, still just waiting to see if they can find any more picks, spot out any more aggression. And that is certainly the right decision here, as they have plenty of time to play with.
And if you're Resistance in a scenario like this where you don't really have a good investment, you're of course going to try to go for these engagements. The problem is, though, they're going for these engagements 1 versus 1. I mean, the T's in most scenarios will be winning those. You know, Hunden getting a frag, Searson as well. It's just that Resistance now are relatively far apart from each other, especially this A defense. It's pretty much non-existent, as ESFN will be dropping Baptisian with a refrag. Dimk and Holmes, they are together, which is nice and all. But the thing is, though, they're going to try to retake a bomb site which has 4 terrorists in it. And in fact, the utility is going to be slowing down the progress even more of these CTs.
Yeah, I think the smell of GG is starting to become real. Dimka and Holmes have to hope that someone from aTTaX makes a mistake or just lands some sort of insane shot. You can see Tizian just jiggle peeking. They're playing so passively on the aTTaX side, and with good reason. They can afford to sit back and wait patiently to force Resistance to push and to force Resistance to go down. 16-9, aTTaX take the win. and they will be finishing the group with a 3-2 scoreline. However, Resistance, they finished 0-5. They will not be making playoffs, but make sure to come back for another game after the break. We will be back with Team 5 versus El Corvette, which certainly could be an interesting matchup. We're going to be back with that second game after the break.